Welcome back to Mental Wellness Evolution. I'm Jeff, and thanks for being here. This is the final talk in my 10 talk series entitled The 10 Most Important Lessons I've Learned on My Healing and Wellness Journey. And this is talk number 10, and I call this one Soul Evolution. Okay, so we are all three-part beings, guys. We have a mind, we have a body, we have a spirit, okay? And that's the part of ourselves that's in here the whole time, experiencing, witnessing, sitting in behind the craziness of those thoughts. That's our conscious override. It's called consciousness in lots of places. It's called awareness in other places. But this is the part of ourselves that we can truly need to get back to in order to understand ourselves better, okay? When we start digging through all the garbage and the programming and the things that have been heaped on us and all of the ideas and belief systems and everything else, we are led back on what I call the journey home to soul. We start to get back to who we truly are underneath all of the programming that we've received throughout the course of our lives. And this is our internal guidance system. This is where our intuition comes from. This is where answers that you're seeking in your life are going to come from when we start getting quiet and we start getting in touch with this aspect of ourselves. Okay, guys, this is kind of the thing that kind of ties everything together of all of the tricks and tools and things that I've been working throughout the course of my journey. Okay, guys, it's I called it the papers process because eventually we end up back at soul, but we start with the programming, we get into the awareness, we start developing the presence practices and being aware of the ego, the mind, and the mind's ideas of who we are and all of these things, and then we get into the rewiring and the reprogramming of the subconscious mind. But the part of us that's capable of doing this all is the spiritual aspect of ourselves. Okay, and I'm a huge proprietor of ancient, esoteric wisdom, born from various different kind of spiritual practices, from everything from, Zen Buddhism, Taoism. There's teachings of the Christ, anything that preaches, love and unity and oneness and all of these types of things. And I know a lot of people kind of get into that, oh, it's just hippie woo-woo type stuff. But as somebody who's incredibly fascinated with the nature of reality and the advancements in things like quantum mechanics and things like that is literally becoming the science of spirituality. It's the bridge between all of it, because there's the spirit world and there's the physical world. Again, we're three-part beings. We're living in the physical world, but there's a spiritual aspect underneath all of that that is tied with something that's foreseen outside of our eyes. Okay, they call this, God. They call this the Creator. They call this, even science calls this the unified field. We're all unified. We're all connected. We're all together. It's a process called quantum entanglement, and it's incredibly fascinating to me to learn all these new modern sciences and all the advancements, and it's literally leading us back to what all of these ancient spiritual traditions have been saying for so very long. Okay, now for me, we need a spiritual revolution in the world. Okay, we need to start looking each other in the eyes and start seeing the soul that lives within ourselves, because we're so divided on grounds of, politics is a ridiculous one, gender, religion, all of these things. And this is all societal programming and ideas that we get, and then we divided ourselves up into teams, and we don't see people even as human beings anymore. We've got very loaded terms, like people call each other Nazis and communists and all these types of things. And that's kind of being done for a reason. It keeps us separated, it keeps us divided, it keeps us from going within ourselves, and the distractions we get from the social medias of the world. And like, the news is terrible for this, social media is bad for this, but we get it, like I said, from religion, advertising. All of these people understand how to manipulate our consciousness. They understand how to manipulate our awareness, because when we're disconnected from ourselves, we become very easy to control. And as a result of the mind, and everything is mind, we become divided based on these grounds of things that don't even exist. The soul has no gender. The soul has no skin color. The soul has no religion. The soul's religion is love. The Beatles said it best, all we need is love. And that's where we need to get back to, guys. That's where we are going to make actual tangible changes in the world, in this physical reality. We need to start getting in touch with this aspect of ourselves, okay? And my favorite practice for this, and I've talked about this many, many times, and I will continue to advocate it for it, is meditation. Meditation allows us to close our eyes and disconnect from all the external noise and really just sit in silence and get in touch with this aspect of ourselves. Now, meditation is a great practice, obviously, for helping you to disconnect from your thought processes as well. But that's where you really start to realize that I am this observer of thought. I am this witness, this consciousness, whatever you want to call it, that's in here that has the ability to control where my focus goes, what I'm paying attention to, the media things that I take into, and all of those things. So meditation just shuts out the noise. We go within ourselves. We start to feel like this energy that's within ourselves, within our bodies. And we start getting in touch with that aspect of ourselves, and when our brains, the thoughts start to slow down, and all of a sudden you get ideas and you start getting things that comes free seemingly out of nowhere. And if you're seeking guidance in your life at any time that I need an answer in the world, or I'm looking for some sort of wisdom or something like that, I hit the meditation couch, I disconnect, and I get in touch with that aspect of myself. And every single time, guys, I'm brought back to some wisdom. I'm brought back to some guidance. I'm brought back to what I truly need to know and what's going on inside of ourselves. So meditation is such a great practice for this, guys. It starts to get us outside of the noise and realizing there's somebody else in here. We're so lost in our minds and our thought processes, and we get trapped in the egoic mind, and we get taken off course. And it's done by design, guys. It's literally done by design. Television and media and these things are actually types of mind control. They're psychological programming. Whether you like to accept that or not, that's what's actually happening to all of us. And when you start to dig through the programming and you start to get back to, who am I actually? You start digging into those deeper questions. Meditation is a great practice for this, and like a little light switch that goes on. It's like people, hey, you need to meditate, man. It'll be good for you. Well, I can't meditate. My mind won't shut up. Whose mind? Who is that that's actually in there? Who is that that's sitting behind all of this, that's observing, that has the ability to observe our thoughts? Who is that person or that being, that spirit? Get in touch with that aspect of yourself, guys. Get in touch with it, because that is where you're going to, once you start to peel back the layers of all the garbage and everything else, that's going to find that that's who you really are. And when we start to build ourselves out from that perspective, we start to be able to make decisions about who we'd actually like to be, where we'd like to go in the world, what we'd like to accomplish in the world. What is my purpose? What do I want to do in this world? What do I want to offer? What are my gifts? And you can start to recognize that from that. And what you go inside yourself, you might be surprised with what you come up with. You might be, some of the answers and things that you're seeking that you find within yourself, all of a sudden, you end up on a different path. If a few years ago, had you told me that I would be out here speaking spirituality and quantum mechanics and, coaching people on how to use their minds and stuff like that, I probably would have laughed in your face. Be like, well, no, that's not necessarily me. But the deeper I dive into my spiritual practice, the more time I spend in quiet, the better I feel. The more I get that internal guidance where I see, like, this type of stuff that I'm doing right now, I know is my soul's purpose. I know within myself that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my place in the world. And this is the thing that all of a sudden you start to feel that fulfillment and that joy and everything else within yourself. It's because you start to get in alignment with your soul's mission, where you're going in the world, what you'd like to accomplish, what you came here to do. Okay, so meditation is a great practice for this, guys. Mindfulness, which comes from Buddhism, is the same type of thing. It's being that being in the moment, aware of our thoughts, aware of our feelings, aware of our emotions, aware of our behaviors, on a moment-to-moment basis, because eventually we want to take the practice of meditation and that true inner peace, and we start bringing it into our day-to-day lives as a practice, and it ultimately takes us back to a state of being in the world. We're not being, influenced by all that outside noise and the things going on outside of us, when we're actually rooted in ourselves, when we're grounded in presence, when we're living from that soul, that witness consciousness perspective, when we're actually in tune with who we truly are, okay? And it takes some practice, guys, too, to get back to this part of yourself. But the more in tune with it you get, the more, I promise, it's going to start to benefit you in your life. It's going to bring you more peace and more joy. Like, I lay in the couch in meditation and I just feel so peaceful and happy and content. And again, I reach out for that internal wisdom and the infinite intelligence, God, the creator, whatever you want to call it. It brings me answers every single time. It's always on our side, but we understand, guys, we're always connected to this. always, in every single moment of any day. You don't have to go to the meditation couch to get this. You just have to get outside of your mind and back into your spirit, and all of a sudden, the answers come. Like, you can even think about how many times have you been doing something in the world and you're fighting with it, you're frustrated, and you take 10 minutes away from it and you go and you get quiet, and all of a sudden, bang, the answer's there. This is available to us at every single minute of our experience, okay, guys? And then it leads us back into starting to see that everybody else is just me. It's a mirror of myself. The world is a mirror. People are mirroring back to you what's going on inside of yourself. That person that you're viewing in that perspective is revealing stuff that's within you. It starts to get back into our shadows and recognizing that, hey, what I'm judging in somebody else is probably something I'm refusing to see within myself. And we have that perspective from this deeper inner knowing, from this deeper inner awareness, okay, guys? So like I said, my spiritual practice is something that I take very seriously. It's something I do every single day. I spend all kinds of time, but I do it throughout the course of the day. If I need guidance or I need an answer, I need some wisdom, I just get quiet. I ask and it comes. And then the more people that get back to living from this perspective, you start to live from the heart center. This is where, we lead with love, we lead with compassion, we lead with kindness for all beings. Animals, and not just humans, animals, nature, everything is interconnected. We're all, part of this, whatever you want to call it, the unified field. But that is essentially the God, the creator. It's absolutely in everything. We start to have that respect for everybody else around us. But then you start to recognize that people are under the influence of this programming. And I see it everywhere. And this is not to judge people. This is more to gain people this awareness. The news is not there to keep you informed. The news is here to manipulate your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, to get you to act and behave in certain ways. When we talk about the subconscious mind, this is what they're doing to us. Social media, all of these things are here to keep us distracted and ultimately fighting against each other. Because the last thing the people at the top of the food chain here really would ever want would be for all of us in humanity to start loving each other like brothers and sisters, to start looking at each other and seeing ourselves in those other people and being like, well, I can't treat that person like that because I wouldn't treat myself like that. We stop realizing that these labels and things are just here to divide. But what we really need, guys, is unity. What we really need is to get back to our souls. We need to start looking people in the eye. And social media has made it so easy for people to get online and start spewing hatred and nonsense and garbage. But understanding when you see people doing that, what's heartbreaking in a sense is that's how those people talk to themselves. Like, people who aren't content and good within themselves are not going to go out and judge people. They're not going to attack people. They're not going to rip other people down. They're going to build them up. And the more we get back to living from this perspective, with leading with the heart, being that the way to go about things, we're going to start helping each other. We're going to start building communities. We're going to work together to create a better world for everybody involved, because ultimately this earth is Mother Earth, Gaia. It's a gift for all of us, but we need to start protecting that too as well. And we do that by working together, guys. We can't play these games of hatred and division anymore, intolerance. It's a lot of these things are just based on programs, guys. Like, when you think television isn't a mind control tool, they call them programs for a reason. They literally put it right in our face, and but we were never taught this. And this is an important thing, guys, where I don't want to judge people. That's not what this is about. I want to bring awareness to people that, hey, they're manipulating you. They're manipulating your consciousness. They're keeping you disconnected from who you are. Because as soon as they trigger an emotional reaction within you, you check out of that spirit soul aspect of you, and that subconscious part of you takes over. And that part of us processes information extremely fast. And you're doing something before you're even aware that you're doing it, okay? But when you gain that awareness and you understand that you are the spirit inside of yourself, that's the kill switch. That's the override. That's what can break through all the programming for each and every single one of us that has the ability to make those choices, to understand that, hey, that's my fellow man. I'm not going to hate them because my television told me to do this. And they've done it through repetition, guys. It's all being done by design. And I know that's a hard thing for people to understand, but it's the truth. And the more you start to dig into your ideas and who you are, and you'll realize that you have programming from your parents. You've received program from religion. You've received program from TV. You've received program from advertising. we become that witness. We can get in behind all that programming and realizing that all this garbage that's in our mind is not who we are. Our mind is a part of us, but it's not at who we are at the very depths of our being. And the more people that start to awaken to this programming and understanding that what this actually is, then we become unstoppable. When we all unite as human beings, because we're all connected anyways, guys, it's a unified field. We all start working together and saying, I'm not going to accept this world that you people are trying to put on us anymore. I'm not going to be a part of the hatred and the division anymore. I'm not going to get on my phone and start arguing with people who essentially probably want a lot of the same things as me. They just have a different way of going about it. Mine isn't necessarily a better way. It's another way. Okay, guys? So start getting in touch with this, guys. Spend some time. I meditate daily, and I meditate for quite a while because I enjoy it, and it's something that has just brought me so much more peace and stuff back into my life. But start small. Just spend some time getting in touch. Start feeling yourself inside of your body. Take those moments. Be present in the moment. We ultimately will move into a state of being where you just are in the moment. Have you ever been in a moment where you're watching the sunset and everything just kind of fades away, and it's just like you just feel incredible? That's what we're shooting for, guys. We're going to get more and more and more of that. The more we start dealing with the mind, realizing it's just part of who we are, and these programs and ideas that have been governing our lives are literally just disconnecting us from who we ultimately are at the very depths of our being. And the more of us that start doing this, the more of us refuse to buy into the programming. Shut your TVs off, get off your social medias, unless you're listening and watching stuff that's incredibly uplifting to you, because you can program your mind for good things too. Get on good media, start reading good books, find good spiritual teachers or coaches or people that actually fill your mind with good things, because as you start to formulate new thoughts generate new emotions lead to new behaviors lead to new experiences in the world. And the more you focus on new thoughts and new things that you've learned, as opposed to the way that you've always done it, those neural pathways in your brain start to break up, and you don't buy into that old programming anymore. And once you start to see through this veil, guys, this illusion, it becomes so obvious that it's like almost like, how in the world was I fooled for this fooled by this for so long? But don't feel bad about it, guys. It's been hitting us since we were kids. We're bombarded with this to keep us disconnected from ourselves. But the more we get in touch with ourselves, the less that stuff works. And the more people that get in touch with themselves, the more the program starts to change. And we start to elevate and raise our consciousness of everybody on the planet. All boats rise with that tide. And things start to get better and better and better for everybody involved, all right? So start leading with love. Start going back to that soul aspect of yourself. Lead with the heart, not with the mind. The mind is going to lead us astray all the time, but the heart knows what to do. You know what's going on deep inside your gut. Your intuition will start to grow the more you do this too. You'll start to feel pulled and drawn to certain types of things. And before you know it, you'll be on an entirely different path. So, we'll leave it at that, guys. This is to me arguably the most important thing that ties everything all together at the very end of all of this, guys, is we need a spiritual revolution. We all need to start getting in touch with ourselves, because the infinite intelligence is love. It's the vibration of love. We give love. The more love we give, the more we're going to receive back. And the more people that give love, we're going to start receiving love. We start looking at everybody around us. We start seeing that, oh my goodness, there's programming. It's programming. It's programming. That's not who these people are. There's somebody else in there. Start looking people in the eye. Get off social media. Stop arguing with people. Turn your television off unless you're watching something that's going to uplift and inspire you. Be aware of the programming. Be aware of people's attacks on your consciousness, that they want to keep you out of this life. They want to keep you divided. They want to keep us all fighting amongst each other. When at the end of the day, guys, unity is the answer. When we all get back and realize that we're all connected, we're all brothers and sisters, there's nothing that can stop us. When we start working together, we can actually change the world. And we need to get away from the people at the top who are telling us they're going to save everything, because they actually have no interest in doing so, or they wouldn't be manipulating people's minds and turning us all against each other. So start seeing that stuff for what it is. Understand your mind is programmed through repetition. This is why they beat you over the same talking points with the news and everything every single day. They want to manipulate you. They want to control you. But the more you get in touch with that inner aspect of your being and disconnect from your mind, when we lose our minds, we find our soul. And that's such an important thing. And that's what I'll leave you guys with on this talk, okay? So thanks again for watching these talks. Thanks again for being a part of this series. I appreciate and love every single one of you. If you want to get back in touch with these types of things, if this is something that's interest to you, I can coach you there. I can help you get there. You can find me on Facebook at Mind Yourself and Google, and you can find me on Instagram at Remind Yourself Coach and on TikTok at _Mind Yourself Coach. Okay, so thanks again for being here, guys. I truly appreciate all of you. I'm going to shift the talks or focus of my talks a little bit. We're going to start breaking down some of these concepts to a little bit deeper level. It's hard to cover a lot of things in a shorter video. I don't want to keep these ones too long as I've gone about here. So thanks again for being a part of it, guys. That's talk number 10. The world needs a soul evolution. Have a great day, guys.